The Lieutenant Governor of the state of Utah.
I don't.
I don't.
Some dude.
The who?
Lieutenant Governor?
White-haired fellow.
He's got grayish hair. He's an older gentleman.
No idea.
No.
No, I don't.
Nope.
No.
No idea.
Now it's
did?
some guy from southern Utah who lives on a farm or something.
I don't know the new one.
I don't.
No, I do not. Not right now.
No clue.
He's a tall guy.
Okay.
He's, if I told you he was very handsome, even though he's prematurely balding, would that mean anything to you?
Oh.
Handsome guy, I don't know, kind of not much hair. Do you know the name of the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Utah?
Last name Cox, I believe.
Okay. Can I give you a hug?
If you want to, you grab me.
I'm Spencer Cox, and I'm the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Utah. I'm the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Utah.
Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. No way.
It's my pleasure.
Nice to meet you. So, by the way, I'm the Lieutenant Governor. My name is Spencer Cox. I'm the Lieutenant Governor.
Are you?
I'm Spencer Cox. I'm the dude. My name is Spencer Cox, and I'm the Lieutenant Governor of the state of Utah.
Oh my gosh.
I'm Spencer Cox. I'm the Lieutenant Governor.
Oh, are you?
By the way, my name's Spencer Cox. I'm the Lieutenant
you're
Governor
really?
of the state of Utah.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you. And nobody knows who I am either, so it's okay.
We'll pray for you.
Thank you. She's going to pray for me.
You'll do well.
Everyone pray for me.
Well, welcome to day two. I am not the Lieutenant Governor, but after that, I don't think he's going to need much of an introduction. So I'm honored to stand up here today to introduce our next speaker. He was born in Fairview, Utah. His wife and Abby are the proud parents of 4 kids. He's been a city council member, a mayor, a Sound Peak County commissioner, and was recently serving in the House of Representatives before Governor Herbert appointed him as Lieutenant Governor just over a year ago, just barely a year ago. So please welcome to the stage Lieutenant Governor Spencer Cox.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to be here with you on day 2 of what I understand has just been an incredible event, an incredible conference. I am honored to be here with you today. In fact, it was a year ago, just last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, that I received the call from the governor to serve as the lieutenant governor. And as you can see, this has been a very eventful year. I've become very well known across the state of Utah. Usually when you're shooting a commercial like that, and you've seen Jay Leno and Jimmy Fallon do stuff like that, kind of man on the street, they always edit out the people who get the answers right, because that's not fun, right? So I would love to say that we did that, but the truth is we edited out no one. In fact, I accosted, I guess is the only way to put it, at least 50 or 60 random citizens on the streets of Salt Lake City, and only one knew the name of the lieutenant governor, and you saw him, and even he didn't know he was actually speaking to the lieutenant governor. So that is the lot of the number 2, and it's been a tremendous amount of fun, and get to do really cool things like this. In fact, this was one of the very first events I did a year ago after becoming the lieutenant governor, and I'm hoping that you've all forgotten about that, those of you that were here. But it was a great event. This morning, for example, this is kind of what I do. I'll give upwards of 20 speeches in a week. This morning, I was at the Salt Palace with 1,700 minority high school students from across the state of Utah. It was our multicultural conference, and got to stand on stage with them and take the largest multicultural selfie in the history of the state of Utah with these kids. It was so fun to see the changing face of our state. And we're seeing this rise of these students, and we know that our demographics are changing, and we know that our state is changing. And I want to talk a little bit about that today with each of you. I was asked to spend some time trying to make transportation personal. And I thought, well, how do you do that? How do you make transportation personal? When we think about transportation, we see all of you out there doing these incredible things. We have heavy equipment, and it's kind of cold, right? It's not something, we don't get warm and fuzzy about transportation. But as I thought about it and talked to some of our people, it really is personal. And my story is a personal story, and transportation plays a huge role in that. So I've been asked to share a little bit about my story today. So I'm going about business. Let me back up a little bit. I was born and raised in Sanpete County, a small town of Fairview. Some of you know where that is, right in the middle of the state, almost exactly 100 miles from the capital, 100 miles south. And I went to law school, came back, worked for a big law firm in Salt Lake, making lots of money, life's good. Driving down the street one day, there's a bumper sticker. It says it's 99% of attorneys that give the other 1% a bad name. And I didn't get the joke. My wife had to explain it to me. And I asked her, I said, is the world a better place because of what I'm doing? And I hope not to offend any of the attorneys in the room, but she said absolutely not. She's very blunt, grew up on a farm in rural Utah. And so that started a conversation. We decided at that time to go back home to Sanpete County, to the farm where I grew up, to raise our 3 boys at the time. We had a little girl that came afterwards, and I had the ideal life. I had the perfect life. I was able I went to work for the telecommunications company that had been in our family for over 100 years, and everything was good. Really, it was kind of the Norman Rockwell setting. I got to, my commute was 30 seconds on a busy day. That's if there's no sheep in the road. I got to be to all of my kids' sporting events. Got to volunteer at their schools. Got to do a really incredible job in telecommunications for a fast-growing company. I was challenged every day. One day, a friend of mine comes to me who was on the city council and says, hey, we have a vacancy and we think you should throw your hat in the ring. I was flattered. I said, well, tell me why you think I'd be a good city councilman. He said, well, truth is we have a lot of legal problems in the city and we can't afford an attorney. So I did some free legal work. That's how I got involved in politics. Got to serve as the mayor, got to serve as a county commissioner, and then had this cool job in the state legislature where I really felt like I was making a difference. And I could do all of this. Life was perfect. Out of nowhere, a call from the governor. And as you all know, our good friend Greg Bell had decided to step down and go back into the private sector. And phone rings, and he says, actually, I didn't answer it. I let it go to voicemail. I had a Google Voice account, so I get this voice to text. I get this, and it's rarely accurate, but this time it was very accurate. The voicemail just said, Representative Cox, it's Governor Gary Herbert. I'm anxious to speak with you. Please call me. And I thought, well, that's probably a call I should return. So I call the governor back, and he says, hey, I'm looking for a new lieutenant governor, and I just want to get your input. Would you be willing to do this? And wow, sure, Governor, I could give you my input. And he said, let's meet on Monday, but don't tell anybody because there's a lot of speculation. Sure, Governor, that's fine. And I got done. I thought, well, that's odd. Why on earth would he want my input? I'm just a freshman representative from rural Utah. And I thought, second of all, doesn't he have people for this sort of thing? And, couldn't we just talk over the phone? But I thought, I'm sure he's calling all the legislators. So I called one of my buddies in the house and said, hey, you get a call from the governor asking for your input on this LG thing? And no, why did you? And no, I wasn't supposed to tell anybody. So I said, no, but I've heard he's calling people. And I thought, I won't make that phone call anymore. 2 days later, I meet with the governor in Provo. He had just had a charity golf tournament. I met him afterwards at the country club there. Beautiful country club. Some of you have been there. They have a lot of weddings there, just a really nice setting. And I only say that because I meet security at the back door, thing in his ear, feel like I'm in the movie. We go upstairs. We have a room prepared for you, sir. I'm like, wow, this is something. I go up, and it's the bridal dressing room. Really awkward, me and the governor in the bridal dressing room. Fortunately, there were no weddings that day. But we sat down and talked, and he really did just want my input. He asked me what he should be looking for in a lieutenant governor, asked me to give him some names, and then he said, I'm going to give you some names and tell me what you think. And I told him what I thought, and this is incredible. The governor really cares what I think. And I can't wait to tell my wife because she doesn't most of the time. And I was really excited. And as we got done, the governor, I was just getting up to leave, and he says, I have one more name for you. And he gave me my name. Now, I don't remember much of what happened at that point, but he said, you're on a list, and I'll get back to you. 2 days later, I get a call from the governor. He says, I need to meet with you again. Can you come up and meet with me? Sure, Governor, happy to do it. And can you bring your wife? I went, oh, no. I did that with the stake president once. It didn't turn out very well. But so I went home to get my wife, and she was just going on her morning run. She likes to run after she drops kids off for school. She says it's cheaper than therapy, and living with me, she needs all the therapy she can get. So she was just leaving, and she said, hey, what's wrong? Why are you home? I said, well, the governor wants to meet with me, and he wants to meet with you, but go run. You definitely need to run today. 3 minutes later, she came back and said, it's hard to run when you're hyperventilating, so we got in the car and drove to Salt Lake. Now, I only tell you all of this, I promise this relates to transportation, and I apologize, I know some of you have heard that story before. We met with the governor for an hour and a half. It was a great meeting, and the First Lady, Jeanette, was there as well. And asked a lot of questions, and said, you know, the list is down to 2 or 3. We're going to start the vetting process, which means that the attorneys and the CPAs are going to turn your life inside out and upside down. We're going to scrutinize everything you've done in your life, every Facebook post, just, you know, whatever it is, just to make sure you don't embarrass me if we decide to choose you. And boy, has he regretted that. I've embarrassed him many times since. But towards the end of the conversation, he said, you know, if we choose you, that means you have to move your family to Salt Lake City. Now, I love Salt Lake City. Nothing wrong with Salt Lake City, except that we knew that we were supposed to live where we lived for a reason. And when I get up every morning and watch my boys out on the farm, you know, moving irrigation pipe before school, living right next to my parents, my wife's parents, there was something there for us, and we felt inspired to be there. And some of you have had those experiences. And I just thought, oh no, I can't do this. I can't move my family. We need to stay here. And can I tell the governor no? I mean, is this something you say no to? I mean, it's a huge sacrifice for my wife and kids. It's a huge cut in pay. We had already done that once. My wife is not excited about the direction that we're heading. And how can we make this work? So a lot of sleepless nights over the next 5 days. A lot of back and forth between myself and the governor. Finally, I said, Governor, you know, when the call came, I'm willing to do this, but you have to let me keep my family here in Fairview. I promise we'll make it work. I said, you know, we have this agency, it's called UDOT, and they do a great job. The roads between my house and Salt Lake City are paved, which is good, and I can do it in about 90 minutes, again, depending on traffic. But if you'll trust me, I think we can make this work. And so he was a little dubious. We had to go back and forth, but finally convinced him to let me try it for 6 months. It's been a year. We made it to our year mark. The governor's fine with it. It's not easy. It's I do a round trip, 200 miles round trip commute almost every day. And about once every 10 days on the really late nights, I have an uncle in Bountiful who has a little basement bedroom that he lets me stay in near the Capitol. So talk about a glamorous job, right? You take a cut and pay and live in your uncle's basement. That's what it means when you're the lieutenant governor. But I say all that to say this. If it was not for you, and for the great things that you do, I could not make this happen. Highway 89, Highway 6, and I-15 are my friends. I can drive them with my eyes closed. I don't, because I think that's against the law. But it's really amazing to me, even during the winter months, going over Billy's Mountain and through Spanish Fork Canyon. You know, I rarely have a problem. If there's a really bad snowstorm, I'll plan ahead and stay in Bountiful. But it's the sacrifices that you all have done as UDOT, as contractors, as employees, that have made this possible for me to continue to raise my family and live this dream. And I could not do it without the incredible and efficient transportation structure that we have in place. Now, my story might be a little unique, but I firmly believe that everyone here in the state of Utah has a transportation story. We all have to get from point A to point B. And we live in an amazing state. I hope you realize that, and I hope you appreciate that. The one thing that I have learned in this position, and let me just say, not only do I drive a lot to commute, my job is to be where you are. My job is to be everywhere in this state. I have visited every county in the state in this past year multiple times. I spend most of my time on the road. I'm out in the state as much as I'm at the Capitol. In fact, in 12 months, I've driven 54,000 miles. That's quite a bit for never having driven that vehicle outside of the state of Utah. That tells you how much ground we've been able to cover in a year. And so I get to go out and see the amazing things that are happening in this state. And everywhere I go, transportation and what UDOT does plays a role in what is happening to make our state great. You know the accolades. Sometimes we probably share them a little too much, but there are a couple new ones that we should probably talk about. First, we're the happiest state in the nation, right? You know what makes people not be happy? Sitting in traffic, okay, makes people not happy. When you look at some of the least happy places in the nation, a lot of that has to do with how much time they spend every day sitting in traffic. So let me just say congratulations on helping us be the happiest state in the country. I also like to think it's because we have a great lieutenant governor, but apparently that did not play a role in any of those statistics. We also have the second fastest growing economy in the country and the fourth most diverse economy. You know the big names. You know they're coming here. We talk about Adobe, eBay, Goldman Sachs. Why are they coming here? Well, there are lots of reasons. But one of those reasons is the ability to get from one place to another. Again, transportation plays a role in all of that. And we've seen those numbers just incrementally explode as we're able to attract new business. Another number that you may not know about that I think is just as important when we talk about the growth of our economy is we found out just a little over a month ago that our median household income is increasing faster than just about any place in the country. In fact, for the last year on record, we had a 3.3% increase in median household income. That's real money to real people that make their lives better. When only 2 states beat us, Alaska and Wyoming, and they don't count because they have more sheep than people, and because all of their increases come in really one sector, and that's energy. Ours has been much more diverse. When you look at the national average, 0.6% growth, and we're at 3.3%. This engine is starting to hum. When you've all seen the Olympic athletes as they train with a parachute behind them. You've seen that as they run, and that parachute kind of gives them drag. Well, Utah is the Olympic athlete, and the national economy is a parachute. All right, that's what's holding us back right now. We're doing some incredible things, and we're kind of pulling the rest of the country along. So we have all of these great things happening, and then we look at transportation. The accolades that have come to this industry, I don't need to tell you about them because you've lived them, but I want you to know that they're recognized and they're appreciated. You look at the Unified Transportation Plan and what it's meant to the economy, an estimated $1.8 billion in new revenue just because of this Unified Transportation Plan and what it's doing to attract businesses and to help businesses grow. You look, I mean, I'm really blown away when we have seen what happened with this latest I-15 rebuild and expansion. You all accomplished things that have never been done anywhere in the world in building quickly, in building under budget, and in building in such a way that there was virtually no disruption to traffic. That has never happened. Congratulate yourselves. Thank you. Give yourselves a hand. This is really incredible. And what you were able to do is just emblematic of what makes Utah different, what makes Utah special. When I travel around the country and meet with my colleagues everywhere else, I'm always grateful to come back and take our problems, because our problems are minuscule compared to what the rest of the nation is facing right now. And what makes us unique is this ability to work together, to take the politics out of it, to find new ways and better ways to do things. I firmly believe, I'm a technologist, I'm an innovator. I firmly believe that the problems we're facing in this country will be solved the same way they've solved in the past. They'll be solved with private sector innovation and government guidance where it's appropriate, and transportation is where it's appropriate. We have the best transportation leaders, the best transportation system in the country. We're being recognized by our peers across the country, and we're honored to have this great work. Again, you're always able to do more with less, and that's kind of the mantra of Utah. We know we're never going to have the same things that other states have, but we can always do more with less because we're the best at what we do, and because we get out of the way and let the people that know what they're doing do their thing. And that's all of you in this room. So I just want to end with this. Again, I've shared my story with you. I hope I could speak on behalf of the 3 million citizens of the state of Utah who all have their own story. When we talk about unemployment being at 3.5%, the second lowest in the country, those are statistics, and I've thrown out some statistics today. But what really matters are human beings, our friends and neighbors. Because of what you do, somebody has a job that they wouldn't have had otherwise, which means that somebody can provide a living for their family, which means that somebody can get an education that couldn't have gotten that education otherwise, which means that they can now become the engineers, that they can now become the thinkers, the innovators of tomorrow. As I met with these multicultural kids, again, 1,700 faces that look different than mine, I said, you know, we know in 40 years, I'm going to be in the minority, and I can't wait, because it's incredible what these kids are capable of doing, but we have to give them the opportunity, and that's what we're doing, and we're doing it because we can think outside the box. Now, we have some challenges, okay? Air quality will always be a challenge. Our state is growing, and that's good. One of the challenges, one of the things we're better at than everybody else is having kids, and we like to have kids. We're really good at that, and that provides some new challenges. As we continue to add population, the ability to get that population from one point to another will be a struggle. We know we can only expand our freeways so much, and so we have to continue to innovate and find ways to change that mindset. I talked to somebody the other day. He said, you know, when I was a kid, we walked to church every Sunday, you know, a couple blocks away, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, 5 blocks. That's just what we did. Everybody did that, right? He says, I don't remember the last time I walked to church, and I still live 2 or 3 blocks away, right? So we have this mindset that we need to have an adjustment to, a real paradigm shift. And that's going to happen, and again, it's going to happen with leaders like you and innovators like you that continue to make Utah the great place it is. So with that, let me just end on this note. And again, I don't want to get too political, but when I look at what's happening in Washington, D.C., I was criticized. One of the problems about growing up in rural Utah is you don't have a filter from your brain to your mouth, and things just come out as you've seen today. And I referred to Washington, D.C. as a dumpster fire, and that was kind of the best analogy I could come up with vividly. Have you ever been around a dumpster fire and smelled and seen? You know, that's what it feels like when you see what's happening in D.C. And as we look at that and the problems that exist in our country, it's fairly bleak out there. But I believe in us, and I believe in what the state of Utah is doing. And I believe that even though we're less than 1% of the population of this country, that we can lead this country. If you'll remember back with me 240 years ago, there was a group of people that did an amazing thing. They embarked on a grand this great experiment which we are still living, which is the envy of the rest of the world, and this is my contractually obligated portion of the speech where I remind you that it is almost time to vote, and that you all need to vote. I hope you're registered to vote, because yesterday was the last day for this election. If you're not, shame on you, and do it next time. But that gave us this opportunity of self-government and self-determination, something that had never before been seen in the history of the world, something that no one believed could happen, and that even when it happened, no one could believe would sustain itself. And here we are 240 years later, and we're still growing strong. Now, I tell you that to say, as I travel a lot every day, I get a chance to listen to a lot of books on tape. And I'm listening to a biography on every president. And I'm at Andrew Jackson now, so up 7 in. And something stood out to me as I was listening to the first couple. The population of the 13 colonies at the time of the Revolutionary War, the time that George Washington, the Declaration of Independence, and all of this was happening, the population of the country at that time, 3 million people. And here we are right now, state of Utah, 3 million people. It put it into a different perspective for me. But I also believe, and I know it sounds a little trite, but I'm telling you, if 3 million people could change the history of the world 240 years ago, I firmly believe that 3 million people can do it again. And we have the right people at the right time in this room to make that happen. All of us working together to solve these problems, not just transportation, but air quality, everything else that's associated with that. And not just those either. I hope you're engaged. I hope you're engaged politically, locally. I hope you're engaged at the state level. I hope you're making your voice heard, because we need real people, not politicians, to solve these problems. And you have those ideas, you have those answers. Thank you for what you're doing, and God bless you in this great work. Thank you.